Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. Man, we're going to have a great show today. I can tell you that for sure because once again, Greg Robinson's on the show. He is a local fishing guide here on Beaver Lake. He's part of the pro staff for Bobby Garland and also
Bobby Garland, PICO,
the
MTech
list.
batteries to Rose Metal Products, RMP.
Yeah.
With the
Trophy
graph
graph
systems.
Yeah.
And I've got Vicious Line, Mossback.
The list goes on.
We
We don't want the whole show to be about
that.
that.
You have to stop and think about how many I got, I tell you.
That's right. But anyway, he's here. He's gonna help us out. He's gonna talk about mounts and mounting them. He also does the installs. He didn't even get to that yet, but he's gonna tell us about that. And we also have Lance Hughey. Yeah, Lance Hughey is here, and he is another local guy who fishes a lot. He's like a social
legend.
Yeah, he's a social media influencer, I'd like to say, and he's here. He's going to talk a little bit about how he's catching all his fish, and he's also going to tell you where you can check him out and see where he's finding all this stuff and where he's catching these fish and how he's catching them. So we'll start right away. Greg, tell us a little bit about mounts and mounting systems, because you mount them in all different boats. Like you did my Vexus boat, and you're going to do one in Lance's boat. Tell us a little bit about these.
Well, these here is
mounts.
the RMP, Rose Metal Products. This is the trophy graph systems they got.
Right.
And this is a double mount, and this is a single.
Right.
Now
these are bridge mounts.
Right. And they do have a little bit different profile of single mount there as well. But this bracket here, actually, this double bracket, we can hang three graphs on there.
Right.
I did one just last week or two. What we done is we mounted two Humminbird 12 inches.
Right.
We got a plate, a double mount plate that we can put on here that was visually made for dash mounts.
Right.
And so we put them two here, and we put a Garmin 12 up on the top.
Right.
But these are made out of aluminum.
Right.
They're not welded. They're
Yep.
all bend, and then they're powder coated, and very, very durable. And the thing about it is the price is really affordable.
Right.
To the others.
That's what it comes down to.
And I mean, with me installing graphs, I install a lot of different brackets.
Right.
From beat down to you name it.
Right.
Ram mounts and all. But overall cost and durability, Rose Metal's done a phenomenal job.
Yep. They have 5 different mounts.
Yes, sir, they have.
And so
this double. They actually got this double here in a tall.
Right.
A tall
Yep.
one. That's what most people go to because it gets it up off the floor a little bit.
Right.
Your bass guys will have a tendency to go with the lower ones.
That's right.
Because they can't see over the mounts.
Right.
Then got a pedestal mount. We got a dash mount for a single or a double. Then you got your single.
Yep.
Bridge as well. So.
Yep. So part of the reason why we wanted Lance on the show was because you're going to do an install on his boat, and you're going to do one of these single bridge mounts on his. So why does this work better for him than, say, this one over here?
Well, number one, he's in his situation, of course, he only has one graph up front anyway.
Okay.
But if he wanted the second graph, it would really be pressed in room. And and his boat, it's a tracker. Right. Nothing wrong with a tracker. There's a lot of them on the lake, but his is the type that you got your floor and then it slopes up, and then you just have what little room you got on the deck, the very top of the boat. So we're going to put this on to confine it a little bit, and he can still step in the boat and then not be too high, because if we can't get something too tall because he spider rigs 90% of the time. And he has the Tarova trolling motor instead of a foot control.
Right.
whether it be an old Trex or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So that's why this mount will better fit what
Right.
he's got. He just basically got down on
Yep.
the deal. So
Yeah.
And so let's talk about your style of fishing, Lance. Are you originally from Northwest Arkansas, fishing Beaver Lake?
I've lived here for about 20 years. I'm from East Arkansas,
Uh-huh.
a town called Livewell, Arkansas. But I've lived here for about 20 years almost.
Right.
I've been fishing beaver close to 10, I would say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what's your style of fishing? He said you do a lot of spider rigging?
I mostly minnow rig, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Spider rig, just pushing 8 poles out the front of the boat and
Right.
just trolling, pushing them, and just trying to pan around the scope and trying to find a fish to go after. It's changed up. The live scope's really changed up my method of fishing. I mean,
Right.
but yeah, right now I'm trolling on the flats or just big main river flats and just trying to find them out there and chase them down.
Let's talk about what are you using for poles? How are you rigged up? Are you using a double drop or single?
I'm using a single. I'm using a double minnow rig.
Uh-huh.
Or I also have jigs on them too, jig heads on them. But
Right.
it's I'm using 16 foot. Right now I'm using B&M's Pro Staff trolling rod. They're just a little bit more of a backbone to them. I go in heavier ounce. I go up to a 1 ounce this time of year
Right.
because I'm out in more open water in the main river channel. So I just like to try to cover more water a little bit quicker. I don't go too much faster, 0.5, 0.8 mostly. But yeah, I mostly just.
How many rods do you have out?
I'm using eight
Eight
out
rods?
the front, 8 out the front, and then
Uh-huh.
but yeah, that's most reason why I stick with that pole during this in the fall. Back in the fall and the spring, I'll step back down to B&M's BGJP. They're 60 foot. They're a little bit more limber,
Right.
and but right now that's
and you
just more
step
of a
down to what size weight?
I go down to half ounce.
Half
I
ounce.
mostly stay at
Mhm.
half ounce. And if I do put a jig on, tying the jig is usually 1/16 or 1/32.
Uh-huh.
And just dip it with put a minnow on there, or I'll use a tube jig or beaver bottom baits, or I'll even gotten to where I've gotten to push squirrel tail jigs. Back home where I'm from, a fellow ties them. His name's Kent Williams. He ties them with a squirrel tail with a number 2 hook and chartreuse head, and I've been catching a lot of them on that. And he said they ought to pick up real good in the summertime, and they've really picked up real well in the summertime. I've caught more on those.
That hair jig has been good for him in this fly hatch. Fly hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just like once they started hatching, they just turned on that thing. So it's been a learning curve. I mean, been kind of interesting, fun to see how that does that.
So tell us a little bit about your boat. How's your boat? Is it 16, 17?
It's a Pro 170. It's I guess just under 17 foot.
Right.
It's not a very big boat, but it gets
Right.
the job done. I mean, I got a lot of stuff on my boat, but 2 people sit up there pretty.
That's got a 250 on it, right?
Yeah, we put
250.
the fastest tin can you'll see on the lake.
I think the fastest tin can on this lake is sitting right over there. It's probably the fastest with the
If you
200
come up
Mercury
behind
Optimax.
Lance, if you come up behind in front of his 50, he's put a 2.
He has?
So that's how you
250.
identify Lance at a distance.
I always just look for the guy who's swinging in a crappie. I mean, that's pretty much it. Tell us a little bit about this floor plan you have on your tracker. Is it always just laced with live crappie, or is there carpet there? I've never seen carpet there. I've just
Throws
seen
them in the
fish.
floor.
I just throw them in the floor, man. You get on them. That's how it was last week. I mean, we just kept. I mean, it was just our hands were constantly in the minnow bucket, or poles across us, or poles in our legs. Fish are in the floor just flopping. I'm just telling Greg, I said, I need to get them fish in the ice cooler before they flop and warn every fish in the lake that we're here.
Actually, with what he's saying there, is I had the opportunity to fish with him last Saturday because I didn't have a guide trip, and surprisingly, and I have never, ever fished this time of year that you keep your hand in the muddle bucket so long that it's like you'd been swimming all day.
Right.
I mean,
Hands
your
just
fingers all swiveled, and it's like, is it ever going to get dry?
Yeah.
You're in good spots then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's. Are you finding most of your fishing groups? They're not roamers.
I mean,
huh?
they're not. They're staying. I mean, sometimes they've been spread out. Sometimes they've been grouped. I mean, it's this past 2 weeks, I've been just constantly fanning, and I'll see them, and there's like maybe three or four with them. You know, and I'll just kind of go at them.
Right.
But I mean, they're not. It's been crazy this summer. They have not been leery at all. I mean, they just come at it. They don't.
Really.
They're not coming, turning around or looking at it, running off. I mean, if you can get the bait in front of them, they're going to bite it. It's been that good since end of May, since the flood settled and all this.
Right. In the watercolor change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been amazing. I never experienced it this good. I mean, this long too. You know, just
and that's
consistent.
Part of the deal is Beaver Lake's right behind us, so Greg's been out there catching my pets, and so I just have to make that publicly.
I caught it like
make a public announcement here that Greg, please stay off of my dock. And so, are you fishing some artificial brush too that's out there?
I'm just
no.
I mean, if I see it, I don't know where a lot of artificial brush. I know where some are, but I mean, most of the time I don't really even fish cover. I'm just I mean, if I see a tree that has fish on it, a couple of weeks ago there was a fish there was a tree that had 3 fish on it, and I just went right at it and caught all 3 of them. But I mostly don't ever really fish artificial plastic trees or anything. I just mostly just stay out in open water. But if there's a tree and I see it has fish on it, dang, I'm gonna go after it. You know,
right.
I mean, go over it and see if I can catch a few off of it. But sure do get your limit quicker if you get up off of it. You know, but it is fun. Usually in the fall time, I'll start targeting trees more.
Right.
Like October, November, they seem to be really on trees, and I'll go over. It's a different method. Since live scope, I've been able to find the trees and know where how deep my pole needs to be, so I don't get hung up in it, and I'll just go right over it, and they'll follow it out, and they either hit it or they don't. You know, it's another fun method that benefit the live scope being able to do.
It is pretty amazing that you know people don't think about live scope being that effective for other than just pitching out or in one pole. And it's what he's saying there is like last Saturday. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a day anywhere close to as fast and as good quality fish as we caught last Saturday. I mean 8:30, 9 o'clock, we were headed to T&T Diner or whatever it is, eating breakfast. And I mean, but those fish, what he's saying on that depth, you can see them out there. I think you had it's 35 feet,
Let's say
30 feet.
35. I don't like
we'd see them
far.
coming in, and we would either reel the line up or feed it just a pull or two, and I mean have it right there in their nose, and I mean they would just, it's just, and you can't do that without it, and it's
right.
Yeah, it's really became a tool to a lot of people.
So if they don't have say active target or live scope, before you got that, how were you catching your fish?
It was going by previous experience. I mean, like where I know fish are this time of year.
Right.
I mean, open water on the flats. I mean, main river channel. Off, I would zero in on a depth they would be, and like 17-foot contour, 8-10 feet down. I would stay at that. I mean, I never really would get off of that depth. I mean, if I knew I'd catch one or these 3 fish, if I catch 3 fish, okay, I'd start patterning it. I'll be like, okay, they're 17 foot of water, don't get off of that. And I would just kind of stay on that, and either I'd catch more, that's how I'd catch my fish. You know what I mean? I'd get my limits that way. But it did take longer. I mean, some days, once that bite would quit, I'd go searching. Let's go shallower, let's go deeper, get out more on the channel. But I would also look for humps in rises off the bottom of the lake. I'd kind of do circles around it, catch fish. Any kind of changes in the structure of the lake, at the bottom of the lake, like if a rise, a point, a channel swing, wherever it kind of bends, maybe in a slack area of the water, in a corner, and just getting over there. And that's kind of that's how it's been the past couple of weeks. They just been kind of in a bend or the channel, and they just kind of get over there, and it's just where it bends, a change in the lake, and they just kind of been over there schooled up.
Yeah, the thing we like about Lance is you're the everyday angler.
Yeah.
You're the not the guide, not the guy who's out there all the time.
Yeah.
You still have a family.
Yeah.
And I mean, so you don't go 7 days a week,
No,
do you?
1 day a week usually. 2 days it's a blessing. It's
Right.
I got a good hall pass, and I mean but yeah, I mean
A good haul.
Yeah,
A good hall pass means
I got hey, let's go. I mean
we have to drop. We both go to the same church, Lance
Yeah.
and I do. So as we're lucky enough to see each other at church,
Yeah.
it's because either I'm not working or
It's kind of like last Sunday, Lance fished with me in my boat,
Right.
and we're going along, and I tell you, I said, "Here comes Brad," and he says, "Obviously, he didn't go to church this morning either."
Yeah, I mean, usually if we sit in the same service, it's an 8:30 service, and the only reason
Right.
why I'm there because I'm going fishing afterwards. but yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it was a holiday
It's all right.
weekend. It's a rarity. I said,
That's
I'm
right.
going to go twice,
Well, actually, I think you had a little leverage on that because originally his wife was going to be out of town, and
Yeah.
he was looking forward to a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so I think she felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
So that takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time is sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures makes a complete line of soft and hard baits. Right now, the hottest thing going on Beaver Lake, hot meaning the pun on that, since it's 105 degrees or something today.
We had a break this morning, though.
Yeah, he had a break this morning, and so they have a complete line of lures. That's how mine usually look, because they're all shoved together, but they have different colors. You can check them out there at picolures.com. Greg, you've been trolling some,
Yes, sir.
so it's been good for you too.
We trolled this morning. We had
Yep.
we should have been completely done probably by 9:30 this morning.
Right.
I know for a fact we lost 6 real good crappie, and we lost 13 keepers. I should
counted.
would have been keepers.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost some more than that probably overall, but we ended up, we quit at 10:30,
Yeah.
and we had 28 crappie, 5 Kentuckys, and 3 catfish. And
There
we
you go.
caught 3 short walleye today.
Oh man,
Had
that's a
one.
bonus, man.
We had 2
Bonus.
that was like a 1/16 of an ounce inch being
Right.
18 inches. So it's
That's
pretty
good.
cool. Yeah.
All right, so Greg, if they want to find out more about your guide service and also your electronic installs and any of that, where would they go?
But then go on to Facebook. I have a guide page attached to my personal page on Facebook, and you can call me at 479-601-1683, and you can private message me, text me on Facebook or on there.
Sounds good. And Lance, if they wanted to check out more about you, the everyday angler, I
Yeah.
like that. Where?
I mean, I'm on Facebook. It's Lance Hughey.
Okay.
And then I'm also on Instagram. I think it's Lance Hughey 34.
Right.
So that's my
Okay.
whatever number they gave me there. So both those, I usually post once or twice a week. And I've gotten to where I do a little fishing, kind of previous trip fishing report writing,
Right.
and just kind of what my experience is on the water each week.
And that'd be on Beaver Lake.
Yeah,
in
it's just on
Northwest
Beaver
Arkansas.
Lake, and I kind of tailor it towards mostly Beaver Lake, but, other people can maybe implement that on their waters too. I mean,
Right.
I just kind of started it just to see what happened with it. So
There you
And a
go.
lot of times I try to do it live at the end of a day of fishing, just to kind of give everybody, what's going on, and
yeah,
I've seen that.
tell
Yeah.
a few colors.
Every once in a while, I post a picture of a fish, but I always black out the background, and
Well, that's why
I'm
you
real.
don't
I'm
take
more
pictures
secret.
on the water.
I'm more
You take
secretive.
Pictures at the event.
Yeah, I'm more secretive than that. I figure, you know what? I figure is the part of the fishing is finding the fish.
If we
I mean,
get
if
pictures,
you left that part out, then it wouldn't be fun. So I like to make it a little bit of a challenge for them.
In fact, I mean,
Maybe we just go follow you around, take pictures of your boat.
Well, that's why I prefer my people, if they do post a picture,
Yeah.
black it out, or just don't post it at all.
Yeah.
Because there is a fair amount of people
Yeah.
that will find and follow me. The one that's really interesting is the guy that lives on the point up here by the point 12.
Yeah.
He sits on these. As soon as I come around the bend, it don't matter whether I'm running wide open or fishing. He's got his binoculars. He's sitting out there with
Yeah.
binoculars. So he's the interesting one.
Well, I know when you go by my dock if you're catching them or not because you're getting the net out. But
If you see me standing at the boat, we'll catch if you see me standing at the back of the boat, you know we're catching fish.
there you go. And so the fishing report this week, see if he's standing, I guess, and then you'll know. Otherwise, all I can say is make sure you check these guys out. They got lots of great information you can find on their social media pages, and these guys can flat out catch those crappies. So, like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.
There you go.